Well, it's time for another ERI update. I'm doing these once a month just to give anyone who's interested, especially our donors, a chance to know just what is going on over here at the office while we're working. I am actually here in the office now. My busy travel season is basically over, and that has been nice for my family. It's been nice to be back. And so I just have a few things I can kind of catch you up on some of the major things that have been going on in the last month. A few weeks ago, I was in Atlanta. It was my last trip and spent several days there doing something that we've never done before, which was I both spoke and had a booth at a homeschool conference. And our thought here was that our course might be really helpful to homeschool parents who want to train their teens, like equip their teens to be ready to deal with not only kind of the easy pro-choice arguments to refute, but the really hard ones. And how to be thinking about like bodily autonomy arguments, how to be thinking about utilitarianism, and not just moral relativism, things like that. And so we thought this would be a helpful demographic, and a demographic that I care about at a kind of a personal level, given that my brother Tim and I were both homeschooled from K through 12 by our awesome parents. And so I feel kind of a kinship with homeschoolers, and thought this might be a group that we could serve well. And so this was kind of a test case. We went to, it was a relatively small homeschool conference that was in Atlanta, at least small compared to a lot of the homeschool conferences. And Jacob was able to help me. It was great to get to hang out with Jacob for several days, and his wife one of those days. It was lovely. So we had a booth set up. We got to check out what all the other booths are doing, which was nice because I was able to kind of see, oh, there's a way that we could totally make our booth look better. Because we're looking at booth, like these people like do these things all the time, and we don't do booths all the time. So it was a good opportunity to kind of see, oh, how can we kind of improve on this? And I spoke, and that included putting together kind of a new talk, or at least some new material that I'll be releasing on the ERI podcast sometime probably in the next few weeks. But basically what I did in my talk was talk about what is kind of the current state of things on college campuses and how that relates to conservatives and pro-life people. So not urban legends. It's not as bad as God's Not Dead. But it's still bad, and gave, I told a few stories of, from stories that we have heard from people that we know of. This is what it was like being a pro-life person and dealing with professors who were using power imbalances to their advantage to make things very difficult for pro-life students. Not just trying to turn Christians into atheists, but also turn pro-lifers into pro-choice people. So talked about that, and talked about some of the things that I think homeschool parents need to teach their teens about before they leave high school, before they go out into the world, if you will, and deal with those college professors, or so that they can be leaders for their peer groups on these issues. And so I was really happy with how that turned out. Certainly a lot of people showed a lot of interest, and that won't be our last homeschool conference that we go to. It was a good test. We can do it better next time, but it was a good test, and I'm really glad that we did it. At the same time, Tim was at the C.S. Lewis Institute giving a lecture on conversational apologetics. That was great because it helped Tim it kind of forced Tim to put together some new material that he had been thinking about working on, and stuff that we've been wanting to work on for projects in the future. And so Tim put together a lot of great new content for that I'm sure you will be getting access to sometime in the future, whether through the podcast or through blog posts or other mediums down the line. So that went really well as well. Excited to help out a really cool group like the C.S. Lewis Institute. We just put out, we just finished our newsletter. We do a quarterly newsletter. We did a monthly newsletter when we first started ERI, and we did that for I think maybe a year or something like that. And then a lovely man, my favorite person in the pro-life movement, David B. Wright, gave us some really excellent advice, which is stop doing monthly newsletters. It's like you're killing yourself. Go to quarterly if you need to do mailings, and we did, and it's been the best thing ever. It's been awesome because the newsletters do take a little bit of time to put together. We're pretty quick at it. It doesn't, it's not this exhaustive thing, but it still takes time. And I think the people getting our newsletters don't want us having to spend, a fourth of our time working on newsletters every month, which is basically where we were at for a while. But our summer newsletter is done. It's being printed right now, and then it'll be going out in the mail. So it'll probably be hitting mailboxes in the next few weeks. So excited for people to hear about some of the things that have been going on through that. One of the cool things that's been going on lately is we've been getting some more scholarship applications. So for those of you who don't know, we've got our course that we put out, but there's some student groups that the reason they're not getting the course is purely financial. They're excited about us, they're excited about the course, but just don't have the funds to get the course. And so I went to our donors at the end of last year and asked them to fund scholarships for clubs to get the course, assuming that the club will commit to getting the club through the course and doing an outreach. And then at first we said that has to be within 3 months. We've moved that recently to 6 months just because of the way semester timing works out. That was becoming an obstacle that, like, there's an unnecessary obstacle for some people. We really care about them doing an outreach, but the timing wasn't as much the important thing. So now that's a 6-month rule. And so we had some groups apply for the scholarship. So I've been processing those in the last week. We've accepted several of those, and then there's a few where I've emailed them asking for some more information so I can make a decision on that. But so we've been getting back to that. Rachel Crawford has graduated, which is awesome. She's coming on staff pretty soon, so she is now beginning her support raising process while she's in Michigan. So one of the things that I did as soon as I got back from Atlanta was helping her with her support letter and getting those printed. Tim and Jacob helped a lot with the writing, but I kind of helped with the layout and getting them printed and packaged and sent to her. And so that's done, and we are just excited for Rachel to get her support raising done as soon as she can so she can get here to Charlotte, because we can't wait to have Rachel here in the office. It's going to be fantastic. I'm just over the moon about Rachel coming on staff here. It's awesome. Tim's getting ready to go to California. He's going to be there for a few weeks, and a lot of that will include support meetings and things like that. And so certainly hoping that goes well. And the last thing I'll talk about is, as a leader of a nonprofit, it's important for me to delegate well. And this has been somewhat of a struggle for me. Like I've always, I think, at least since we started ERI, I've always understood at a theory level why delegating is important. But sometimes delegation is hard because there are certain things that I can do that our staff isn't always equipped to do, or at least a lot of our staff aren't equipped to do. We often make jokes about Tim and Jacob in particular being like not super technologically savvy. They're super awesome at other things, but computers not as. And so there's certainly a lot on my plate, and I'm wearing too many hats. But I'm excited because it's like 99% sure, we're kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but almost certain that we will have at least one summer intern this summer. For the first time, we're going to have interns. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm beginning the process of documenting some of the things like workflows and processes for some of the things that I'm going to want that person doing. Certainly one of those things I'm going to try to offload is all of the video and audio editing that both Tim and I do. On, kind of as part of every week for us. Not a super significant part of our week. It's like taking like half our time or something like that. But it certainly takes a significant enough time that if I can get an intern trained in how to do video and audio editing, and they can do at least most of that work, like 75 or 80% of that work, that would save us a lot of time. And so I've been in the process of, as I do the work, as I'm editing video right now, documenting every single step of what is it that I'm doing. I've worked out these processes on my own, but now documenting, okay, here's how we want it done, here's how to do it in a way where there's consistency and the level of quality that we want. And that includes taking screenshots and annotating them with arrows and notes and things like that, and sometimes even screenshot videos and kind of explaining here's how to do this feature in Adobe Premiere or whatever. So trying to get more of the things that I do that I could train someone else, especially someone who's pretty technically savvy, to do, so that as soon as we bring on interns or volunteers or things like that, I can, I've already done the work once and I don't have to do it again, documenting how I do that. So right now I'm working on documenting how I do audio and video editing on podcasts, and then I'll be documenting some other processes down the road. So it's front heavy, meaning that it takes, a lot of time right now, but it's going to pay dividends in the future, and efficiency is really important to us. There's a lot on my plate. There's a lot of different things, tasks that I need to get done that only I can get done. And so the sooner that I can delegate some of the other things that I could train someone else to do, the better off we are. So those are a lot of the things going on. It's not quite as exciting as sitting in front of the U.S. Capitol and talking about speaking at Family Research Council or doing a whole bunch of speaking trips. This summer we'll, for the most part, be in the office working on a lot of projects and things that are harder to work on when we're constantly on the road. So again, I'll be here in another month giving you another update. And if you have any questions about any of this, please email me. And I'd be happy to answer you personally and maybe add that as a question and kind of an answer thing for the next time that I do one of these update videos, which I'm going to do about once a month. So again, thanks so much, especially if you are a financial supporter of us. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making our work possible. God bless.